Hi there. Welcome to PMP Exam Express. I am Mark. We have 25 PMP exam practice questions. They are based on scope, cost, and schedule. Please subscribe and like our content. Let's get into the questions. Tell me how many you answered correctly in the comments section. 1. During scope validation, a key stakeholder requests a change that would enhance the product's functionality. What should the project manager do first? A. Immediately implement the change to satisfy the stakeholder. B. Perform an impact analysis on cost, schedule, and scope. C. Document the change in the changelog and continue with the project. D. Ask the project sponsor to approve the change. Answer. B. Perform an impact analysis on cost, schedule, and scope. Explanation. Before any change is implemented, its impact on the project's cost, schedule, and scope must be assessed. 2. A project is running ahead of schedule, and the customer suggests adding new features to the scope without increasing the budget. What should the project manager do? A. Reject the request as it violates scope management principles. B. Perform a cost-benefit analysis to evaluate the new features. C. Accept the request and extend the project. D. Submit the request for formal change control review. Answer. D. Submit the request for formal change control review. Explanation. Any change to scope must go through formal change control, even if the project is ahead of schedule or under budget. 3. During a project update meeting, the project manager realizes that some activities are not progressing as planned, but the project is still on track for completion. What should the project manager do? A. Ignore the deviations as long as the project remains on schedule. B. Rebaseline the project schedule. C. Investigate the root cause of the deviations and adjust the schedule if necessary. D. Request additional resources to bring the activities back on track. Answer. C. Investigate the root cause of the deviations and adjust the schedule if necessary. Explanation. Identifying and addressing the cause of deviations early helps prevent bigger problems later. 4. After a cost performance review, the project manager notices that the project's cost variance is negative, but the schedule variance is positive. What should be the project manager's next step? A. Rebaseline the project's budget. B. Investigate the reasons for the cost variance and take corrective actions. C. Reduce scope to stay within budget. D. Request additional funds from the sponsor. Answer. B. Investigate the reasons for the cost variance and take corrective actions. Explanation. The project manager should first understand the cause of the cost variance and explore corrective actions. 5. Midway through a project, a significant discrepancy is identified between actual progress and the baseline schedule. What should the project manager do next? A. Re-baseline the schedule immediately. B. Fast-track or crash the schedule to meet deadlines. C. Perform a root cause analysis and develop a corrective action plan. D. Request more time from the project sponsor. Answer. C. Perform a root cause analysis and develop a corrective action plan. Explanation. A root cause analysis will help identify the underlying reasons for the discrepancy and help create an informed corrective action plan. 6. A project scope statement lacks sufficient detail, and the team is struggling to understand key deliverables. What should the project manager do? A. Proceed with execution based on available information. B. Create a detailed work breakdown structure, WBS, to clarify deliverables. C. Ask the sponsor to provide more clarity on the scope. D. Cancel the project until the scope statement is revised. Answer. B. Create a detailed work breakdown structure, WBS, to clarify deliverables. Explanation. A detailed WBS helps break down the scope into manageable components, improving clarity and understanding for the team. 7. During project planning, the project manager realizes that there are many unknowns regarding schedule and cost estimates. What is the best approach to manage these uncertainties? A. Use analogous estimation techniques to provide quick estimates. B. Add contingency reserves to both the schedule and cost baselines. C. Ignore the unknowns and focus on the known aspects. D. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor for guidance. Answer. B. Add contingency reserves to both the schedule and cost baselines. Explanation. Contingency reserves account for unknown risks and uncertainties in both cost and schedule. 8. After reviewing the project's earned value metrics, the project manager finds that the CPI is below 1.0 and the SPI is above 1.0. What does this indicate? A. The project is ahead of schedule and over budget. B. The project is behind schedule and under budget. C. The project is ahead of schedule and within budget. D. The project is on schedule but has cost overruns. Answer. A. The project is ahead of schedule and over budget. Explanation. A CPI below 1.0 indicates that the project is over budget, while an SPI above 1.0 indicates that the project is ahead of schedule. 9. A stakeholder requests additional functionality after the project baseline is approved. The project manager agrees to the changes without performing an impact analysis. What is the most likely outcome? A. The project will finish earlier than planned. B. The project will experience cost and schedule overruns. C. The changes will improve stakeholder satisfaction. D. The project scope will remain unaffected. Answer. B. The project will experience cost and schedule overruns. Explanation. Unapproved scope changes, scope creep, typically lead to cost and schedule overruns. 10. During a project review, the team discovers that the project is 30% complete, but 50% of the budget has been spent. What is the project manager's immediate course of action? A. Reduce the project scope. B. Perform a cost review and develop a recovery plan. C. Request additional funds from the project sponsor. D. Extend the project schedule to accommodate overruns. Answer. B. Perform a cost review and develop a recovery plan. Explanation. The project manager should first investigate the cost variance and develop a plan to get back on track. 11. After a detailed schedule review, it is found that critical path activities are being delayed. What should the project manager do? A. Re-baseline the project to reflect the delays. B. Implement fast-tracking or crashing to recover the delays. C. Adjust non-critical path activities to compensate for the delays. D. Request a schedule extension from the sponsor. Answer: B. Implement fast tracking or crashing to recover the delays. Explanation: fast tracking or crashing can help recover schedule delays on critical path activities. 12. The project team realizes that the cost estimates for a major project component were too optimistic, and actual costs are exceeding the planned budget. What should the project manager do next? A. Ignore the issue since the project can absorb the extra cost. B. Perform a cost re-estimation and assess the impact on the overall budget. C. Request a budget increase to cover the cost overruns. D. Cancel the component to avoid further cost increases. Answer: B. Perform a cost re-estimation and assess the impact on the overall budget. Explanation: re-estimation will provide a clearer understanding of how the overruns will impact the overall project budget. 13. A team member identifies that certain work is being performed outside the defined project scope. What should the project manager do? A. Immediately stop the work and bring the team back to the defined scope. B. Document the additional work and adjust the project baseline. C. Assess whether the additional work adds value before taking action. D. Request additional resources to complete the added work. Answer: A. Immediately stop the work and bring the team back to the defined scope. Explanation: performing work outside the defined scope can lead to scope creep and should be stopped immediately. 14. The project sponsor requests an acceleration of the project schedule without an increase in budget. What should the project manager consider first? A. Negotiate to reduce the project scope to meet the accelerated timeline. B. Fast-track the project by performing activities in parallel. C. Inform the sponsor that it is not feasible to meet the request. D. Crash the schedule by adding additional resources regardless of cost. Answer: B. Fast-track the project by performing activities in parallel. Explanation: fast-tracking allows for an acceleration of the schedule without increasing costs, but it may increase risks. 15. A project is tracking slightly over budget, and the project manager notices a trend where costs continue to rise. What should the project manager do to address this? A. Apply earned value management, EVM, to determine future cost trends and corrective actions. B. Request an immediate budget increase from the sponsor. C. Cancel some of the non-critical activities to reduce costs. D. Reallocate resources from other projects to cover the cost overruns. Answer: A. Apply earned value management, EVM, to determine future cost trends and corrective actions. Explanation: EVM will help forecast future cost performance and determine the right corrective actions to take. 16. A project team has identified several key deliverables that are not covered by the current scope, but are essential for project success. How should the project manager handle this situation? A. Add the deliverables to the project scope and inform stakeholders. B. Perform an impact analysis and submit a formal change request. C. Reject the additional deliverables as they are outside the project scope. D. Adjust the schedule to include the new deliverables without a formal process. Answer: B. Perform an impact analysis and submit a formal change request. Explanation: any modification to scope requires a formal change request and impact analysis to ensure alignment with project objectives. 17. After performing a detailed schedule analysis, The project manager determines that the project's critical path has shifted due to unforeseen delays. What is the next step? A. Re-baseline the project schedule immediately. B. Assess the impact of the delay and evaluate options like fast-tracking or crashing. C. Delay non-critical tasks to keep the project on schedule. D. Extend the project duration to account for the delay. Answer. B. Assess the impact of the delay and evaluate options like fast-tracking or crashing explanation. The project manager should assess the delay's impact and determine the most efficient way to get the project back on track. 18. The project's actual costs have consistently been higher than budgeted, while the schedule performance is on track. What tool or technique can the project manager use to understand the root cause of the cost overruns? A. Schedule Performance Index, SPI. B. Cost Variance, CV, analysis. C. Resource leveling. D. Critical path method. Answer B. Cost variance, CV analysis. Explanation. CV analysis helps in understanding the difference between the actual and budgeted cost to determine the cause of cost overruns. 19. During a schedule review, a project manager notices that several non-critical path activities have started to lag behind schedule. What action should the project manager take? A. Ignore the lag as long as the critical path is on track. Re-baseline the project schedule to account for the delays. C. Perform schedule compression techniques on the non-critical path. D. Monitor the activities closely to ensure they do not affect the critical path. Answer. D. Monitor the activities closely to ensure they do not affect the critical path. Explanation. While non-critical path activities might not immediately affect the project schedule, they should still be monitored to avoid cascading impacts. 20. A project manager is faced with increasing project costs due to fluctuating material prices. What should be the first step to address this issue? A. Negotiate fixed-price contracts with suppliers. B. Use the project's contingency reserves to cover the additional costs. C. Perform a cost-risk analysis and update the risk management plan. D. Reduce the scope of the project to stay within budget. Answer. C. Perform a cost-risk analysis and update the risk management plan. Explanation. Understanding the impact of fluctuating costs through risk analysis will help in managing and mitigating future cost risks. 21. During project planning, the project manager receives conflicting estimates from two different teams on the same deliverable. How should the project manager proceed? A. Choose the lower estimate to save on costs. B. Average the two estimates to get a compromise value. C. Revisit the work breakdown structure, WBS, and clarify the deliverable scope before re-estimating. D. Choose the estimate that aligns with the project sponsor's expectations. Answer. C. Revisit the work breakdown structure, WBS, and clarify the deliverable scope before re-estimating. Explanation. Clarifying the deliverable scope ensures both teams are estimating based on the same understanding, improving the accuracy of estimates. 22. After a project's budget is approved, an unexpected regulation requires additional work to be completed that was not part of the original scope. What should the project manager do? A. Add the work to the project without altering the budget or schedule. B. Perform an impact assessment and raise a formal change request. C. Use management reserves to cover the new scope. D. Negotiate with stakeholders to remove some existing deliverables. Answer: B. Perform an impact assessment and raise a formal change request. Explanation: regulatory requirements are a valid reason for scope changes, but a formal process is needed to adjust the project scope, budget, and schedule. 23. During a mid-project review, the earned value analysis shows that the project is 40% complete, but 60% of the budget has been spent. What should the project manager do? A. Re-baseline the budget based on the current performance. B. Perform a variance analysis to identify the cause of the budget overrun. C. Request additional funds from the sponsor. D. Ignore the budget variance if the project schedule is on track. Answer: B. Perform a variance analysis to identify the cause of the budget overrun. Explanation: the project manager must understand the reasons behind the cost variance before determining corrective actions. 24. A sponsor asks the project manager to add a new feature to the deliverables after the project scope has been baselined. What is the project manager's next step? A. Add the feature to the project scope without formal approval. B. Reject the request since the scope has already been baselined. C. Initiate the change control process to assess the impact on schedule and cost. D. Modify the project plan and schedule to include the new feature. Answer: C. Initiate the change control process to assess the impact on schedule and cost. Explanation: even after scope baseline, changes must go through a formal change control process to evaluate their impact on cost, schedule, and other project constraints. 25. The project team has completed 50% of the planned work, but the Schedule Performance Index, SPI, is 0.8. What does this indicate? A. The project is ahead of schedule. B. The project is on track. C. The project is behind schedule. D. The project is under budget. Answer: C. The project is behind schedule. Explanation: an SPI less than 1.0 indicates that the project is behind schedule in terms of the work performed versus planned. We have come to the end of the questions. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like our content. All the best with your PMP exam preparations.